What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball. The Olympics are here. Olympic basketball is so much fun, and I'm so excited that I'm going to try to cover like these games with you guys and just kind of recap them because I just think the Olympics and like international play of basketball is some of the purest forms of basketball. But anyway, I want to talk about the Team USA versus Serbia game today while also just covering Team USA in general, since this is the first video on it. But yeah, let's get into it. But hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. All right, now we can get into it. So for those of you not familiar, this is the squad that we threw together this year for Team USA. Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, AD, Kevin Durant, Ant-Man, Joel Embiid somehow gets to be on the roster, but you know what? Fair enough. We're happy to have him. Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, and Derek White, the bald beauty himself. That is, man, I just love Derek White. But anyway, this is the team that was put together, and I wanted to start off by kind of just talking about like the selection process itself for Team USA, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed with how it all worked out in comparison. For those of you that don't know, a lot of times they used to invite like 30-ish dudes, sometimes more, to kind of come to this Team USA camp. There's the Team USA, and then there was always the select team. But before, it used to be quite a bit of guys that would come to like the Team USA camp, and you kind of had to try out to make the team, if you will, and they'd kind of make cuts and do it like a normal tryout, if you will, which breeds a lot of competition. It breeds like a certain energy and style to things, whereas this time they just kind of went and said like, hey, you guys are the guys that are on the team, all except for Derek White, who used to be Kawhi Leonard, and then Kawhi Leonard was injured or something like that, and they said you should kind of just go home. A little bit confusing, but is what it is. Oh, I should show the coaches as well. Steve Kerr, Mark Few out of college. Great to have him here. Tyronn Lue and Eric Spoelstra, elite coaching staff. Great to see. But I miss when they would kind of let them compete a little bit more. I felt like I said, it bred competition and a certain intensity to things. I know that they don't want to do like too much of this stuff. These guys play a lot of basketball at the end of the day, but I don't know. I just think the competition of it was more fun, even though we know like guys like Steph, like KD, right, and Bron, like they were going to be on the team one way or another. But I just think it's kind of lame that we just saw certain guys like not even get a chance to really compete. And I'm not going to lie, like I don't think this is a perfect roster by any means. This is a really, really good basketball roster. This is probably the best roster in the world. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Like, I think there's some holes on the team and like some roles that need to be filled, primarily at the point guard spot. And now I know Halliburton's great, Curry's great, Derek White, Drew Holiday, all great. I think we're kind of missing, like, especially after this first game, I think you see it even more, like a really lead guard kind of shot creator more so. Like, I think we've got a lot of just like really solid kind of like guys that can play off ball as well. Like we'll talk about Steph Curry and the impact that he has with and without the basketball, but I feel like we're really missing that like lead shot creating guard on the team, and that's where I think Kyrie Irving would have been a great fit, or Jalen Brunson. Either of them, I think they would have been great additions to this team. I would have liked to have seen Jaylen Brown get a shot at this team, Jimmy Butler get a shot at this team, right? I'm probably forgetting some other names in some capacity here, but hell, like you invite like Miles Turner or something to try out too, because like why the hell not at the end of the day. But no, I think there were some names that were missing here. Like I'd like to see a DeMar DeRozan go up against these guys or something like that, right? I'm not saying that all of them are going to make the team, but I think the competition side of it is important, and I wish and hope that they go back to that in the future. And you know, is this maybe the team I would have picked? Maybe not, but like, look, like this is a great group of guys at the end of the day. I don't want to diminish that. I just wanted to talk about that for a sec. Talking a little bit just about like foreign basketball in itself and everything, and I wonder if I can get like the Olympic basketball. What are we calling this? Pool play? Are we able to like see what that looks like? Do they have like an actual bracket here? Maybe I'll find it. Okay, yeah, here we go. So here's all the different brackets and everything like that, or the three groups in this case. So it looks like Australia and Canada, each 1-0, Germany, France, USA, South Sudan. We'll talk about South Sudan a little bit later. But anyway, I just want to talk about some of the cool things that happen with Olympic basketball. The first thing just being the energy that everybody plays with, like the amount of national pride. And I know for a lot of us that are American that are watching this video, like you feel like you have a lot of like national pride and stuff like that. I'll tell you just from being someone that worked works very internationally and stuff. Like it's just different overseas. We're kind of brought up in the US as very much like, hey, yeah, we're America, we're the best at everything, right? We're the best at everything. And like that's just kind of how we're brought up, when really that's not true in a lot of ways. And also, like, in these countries, they're very much like, no, we're gonna go prove that we're the best type thing. And so I just really like the attitude with that a lot of these like foreign players come in with, and it seems like we're coming out with a lot of pride right now as well. So that's just awesome to see. I always like the Olympic rules and like the FIBA rules more than anything else. Like I love that they get rid of like offensive or like the goaltending stuff, and like some of the 3-second violations are no longer a thing. I just think it's interesting that like the reffing is so much less involved. Like they let them be so much more physical. I think that's really, really cool. I just think that's kind of the most pure form of basketball at the end of the day. So I really like that. And I like that the score matters as well in these point differentials is a big implication. So like USA winning by 26 points means something, actually. It means that they play until the last second. That last Steph Curry shot that he hit in that game matters, right? I just think it's fun. It makes it more intense the whole time. And like, I don't know. I have a lot more fun with the international game. All right, let's start talking about the Serbia Team USA game, because that's why you clicked on the video. So apologies for maybe somewhat clickbaiting you guys. I don't know if that's clickbait or not. So going up against Serbia, some of the NBA players to watch out for. Obviously, probably the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic on their team. Had a good game all said and done. Some of the other guys, Bogdan Bogdanovic is out there. Nikola Jovic is out there. Micic from the Charlotte Hornets was out there. Micic probably should have gotten some more burn. Micic looked pretty solid out there all said and done. You could say the field goal percentage was a little bit like, yeah, but I don't know. I trusted him more than, I'm not really familiar with Avramanovic, however you say his name or anything like that. But regardless, the Team USA rotation, kind of interesting. Started LeBron, Embiid, Booker, Holiday, and Curry. And then you had Durant, Bam, Davis, Edwards, and White come off the bench. You didn't see any Jason Tatum or Tyrese Halliburton in this one. They both just didn't crack the rotation. It's fine. Like, somebody's going to not play out of these superstars. So they were the two that didn't seem to crack the rotation, which I guess looking at it probably makes some sense. Maybe Jason Tatum for like, actually, I don't know necessarily. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard at the end of the day when you have this many good players, but regardless, the rotation was interesting in itself. I don't know if they'll keep bringing Durant off the bench. Like, I might sit Holiday at a certain point just to have him out there, go a little bit bigger, especially as you play some bigger teams potentially down the line. So that could be interesting. But man, having Durant and Edwards as like kind of scoring punches off the bench is pretty crazy. Let's talk about Joel Embiid just a little bit. Like, Joel Embiid's been like a little bit rough at points in some of this, like, we'll call it Olympic play so far. He's kind of been played off the court just due to like him fouling a bit too much, maybe not being as mobile, having some costly turnovers at times, which is like, okay, you know, it's whatever at the end of the day. But man, he kind of got schooled by Jokic whenever he was out there, and I don't like to buy into all the narratives that people say where like Embiid is always ducking Jokic and everything, but like, man, he really gave him the business when those two were going at each other today. Like, it just really felt like he was giving it to him. So, is what it is. But Embiid in his 11 minutes out there still found a way to get a couple points up there and, you know, at least be a factor in some size, even though he got teed up on that one for, like, kind of grabbing that dude across the face or whatever, but is what it is. Let's talk about Steph Curry just a little bit. So 11 points for Steph today, 4 for 8 from the field. I think one of the coolest things about Steph Curry that you get to see in the Olympics is that we all talk about how great the Warriors like system is that they run, right? Like, we all try to replicate it. And what you see is Curry like is the system in a lot of ways. What do I mean by that? Like, you still see him even in this Olympic play, right? And given Kerr's the coach again, right? And so you kind of expect it in some capacity, but he's still running around all these screens. He's still setting a ton of screens as like the smallest dude on the court. He's getting other people open. He knows how to use his gravity to the point where other guys have to be locked into him because he's Steph Curry, right? Even with all these other great players out there, they know they can't let Curry get hot. And he's running around, he's setting screens for even like Bam or something like that, going up against these big 7-footers trying to create space for other people on the court. And I just think it's so cool that he can bring that wherever. I think it's a real testament to like who he is as a player and the amount of energy and like skill that he has for seeing the game in ways that a lot of people just can't appreciate because it doesn't appear on a box score. So I encourage you, if you didn't really notice it, and I know they were doing a good job of trying to bring it up during the game, so good for the announcers in that one, but I want to make sure that people are seeing like that's just not something that we see very much. So shout out Steph Curry in that case. A small thing for Serbia. I don't know which center it was. It was number 33. I don't remember if it was the starter or the backup, the 7-foot dude. He was in their way the entire game, and it was really frustrating to watch. He would set a screen and then like short roll like 2 feet away, and like I saw like Misic and like Bogdanovic get like double teamed off of icing situations because they know that they're gonna do it to the actual like NBA players on the team, right? And like he just would not get out of the way or roll the entire game, and it was really pissing me off. Like I was like, oh my god, dude, like stop bringing a double team towards these guys, like move, get out of the way. Like, so I don't know, that was just like a really small like petty thing that I was just noticing throughout the game, but honestly like it did hurt them at points, especially because like I'd say during the third quarter the game got like a little bit slow, but in that second quarter when Serbia was like really starting to get going, mostly because that was like when Jokic went on like his little run or whatever, like that guy was out of the game and they were just flowing a lot easier. They were kind of just getting out and getting moving, so something just to watch for in itself. I want to go back to the announcing for just a second. Dwayne Wade as an announcer is awesome. I love that Dwayne Wade, like he's like announcing the game, like he's giving tidbits and nuggets here and there, but he still just doesn't sound like he really gives a shit at the end of the day. Like he's like, oh yeah, he's like, go get him some, or like he's got all these fun little sayings already and stuff. So I don't know, I really enjoyed Dwayne Wade, hearing the stories, hearing the energy or whatever. Like he's kind of talking shit on the sidelines. Like he gets distracted at little points in the game where he's like, oh shit, there's a Dwayne Wade jersey, right? He's like, that's my guy right there. Like, I don't know, I think that's fun. I've always been more into like we'll call it Barstool-esque announcing style, and you guys let me know, like, what would you kind of rather have? Would you rather have dudes kind of like clowning around a little bit more and being a little bit more like hype, like you picture like a street ball announcer or something like that, or would you rather have more of the button-up style? I think there's a time and place for both, and I can appreciate both, but I don't know, I just like seeing stuff like this, especially for Olympics when it feels like such an event. I don't know, it just feels like more fun. I also just want to make sure I'm just giving the credit to LeBron James in this one, who he was the dude in this one, even though Durant was going on his 8 for 9 and he led the team in scoring, and he just, let's talk KD for just a minute. Kevin Durant is just a hooper. He's one of those dudes, right, that he can be injured and he can be not playing for a little bit and then step on the court and give you 40 points. Like that's just what he does. Like first day back, he's like, all right, let me just go get my feet under me. I'll give you a quick 40 or something like that. But shout out Durant. But LeBron just doing everything for this team in every capacity. Almost had a triple-double in this one with 20 points in Olympic basketball is absolutely crazy. I want to make sure that we're reflecting on how special that this time is. One, just to see LeBron and Curry like on a team together with Durant and everything, like the old guard is kind of coming to an end here, so that's cool to see in itself. And as somebody that I grew up in the time with like LeBron on the Heat, I was a Bulls fan. I was so annoyed that the Bulls could never beat the Heat. Couldn't stand LeBron James, right? Like you'd see him flop and things like that, and it would make you so mad. This big ass dude that doesn't look like he's ever been hurt in his life, like kind of going down with injuries, and like I know there's LeBron haters and stuff like that, and I just hope that we can all recognize that, like, there's just not much time left of this dude, right? And at this point, and maybe it's because my Bulls just aren't in the way of him at this point, right? Like, they're just not a factor in things, but I like to think that there's some maturity at this point, too, of me to say, like, like, it's never been personal with him. I hope that's clear as well. Like, his greatness is, like, just, it's something in itself. And I'm just trying to treasure every single moment that I have to watch it at this point. And this is probably the last Olympics that I get to see LeBron James. And it's such a great basketball scene. And these dudes he's playing with is so much fun. Like, I don't know. I just think it's really, really special, and I hope that we're all acknowledging how special it is because, man, it is incredible to watch. That play where he trucked like 4 Serbian dudes and got that layup and got up and was like pounding his chest and yelling. I was sitting on my couch over there, and the reason this game's a little bit delayed, I had brunch with the in-laws, the soon-to-be in-laws this morning, and then I came back. I had the game recorded, so I was kind of skipping through it at least skipping through the commercials, which is nice to get to this video now. But when he got up and he was pounding his chest and yelling and everything, I stood up too, and I was like, yeah, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, oh man, I wanted to be like, USA, you know? So, I don't know, something about that just really got me hyped and got me really energized, so I was really, really loving it. All right, the last thing we got to talk about, South Sudan basketball. For those of you that aren't aware, Luol Deng does the whole, like, African basketball stuff. He's been growing the game from inside of Africa for forever. This South Sudan team is a super, super young team. They obviously almost beat Team USA and kind of, like, we'll call it the pre-Olympic games or whatever. They've got a young team. They don't have many like NBA dudes on it. It's pretty much just like Wenyan Gabriel and Carlik Jones, right? Who they aren't even technically like on NBA rosters anymore, but they've got a couple up and coming dudes that we think are going to be NBA guys. They're super young, but man, are they dripped out of their mind going into this. They got swag. They got their first Olympic win today. They play with a lot of energy and hype and everything. I'm like, damn, like, and obviously you got LeBron here being like, them boys was clean as fuck. Like, man, I don't know. It's going to be hard not to root for this team in some capacity, right? But I just wanted to acknowledge it. It's just, this is one of the cool stories of it, the beauty of the Olympics and all these countries coming together for the games like this. And I hope that's what we remember the Olympics are all about at the end of the day. It's everybody coming together in the sense and spirit of competition. It's just, there's like a race car going by my apartment during my hopefully emotional testimonial about the Olympics, but it's all about the sport and coming together and, you know, having this vision for like peace through sport and everything. So I hope that we all remember that and enjoy the Olympics. Go watch some of these other sports. These athletes are incredible at the end of the day. I'll always say, I think gymnasts are the craziest athletes in the world. They have to be graceful, explosive, strong, like dynamic, like all at once. And it's just, it's crazy the things that they put their bodies through. But hey, you guys let me know. The rest of these videos and the rest of these Olympic ones probably won't be quite as in-depth as this one. It'll probably just be more so the games, but I wanted to give some initial thoughts and everything to kind of give some context. But hey, I appreciate you guys watching as always. I think the next game's on Wednesday. I want to say it's either Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't quite remember, but I'll try to make sure I'm covering them. I'll have an update video going out on my channel on August 1st, so make sure you guys watch that. It's going to have a lot of important context for the channel this month because it's going to be a weird August. But hey, appreciate you guys as always. Go enjoy the Olympics, and we'll talk to y'all later.